Hi everybody, my name is Max Maker and this year I'm building my dream workshop, and this video is all about the groundwork and the foundation. The surveying company was already here and pounded these stakes into the ground, and that shows us where we have to dig the foundation. So the green area is going to be underneath the workshop, and the two red foundations are going to be point foundations for the roof in front of the workshop. I've done some digging before, but my crew has not. They're in their mid-20s and they were eager to learn it, so we just decided to do this job ourselves, hire some excavators and learn how to use them. And I can tell you, it's not as difficult as you think. It's just a learning curve, like anything in life. Feel free to leave some comments if you have any tips and tricks for us. So we rented these two rather small machines and we started by removing all this ground at the back of the property, because it turned out it was actually underneath the workshop and in the way. So the loader started taking off material here and driving it to the other side of the property, and the excavator could start digging out the foundation, taking out scoop by scoop and dropping it off to the side of the foundation to leave some room in the middle for the loader to work. So the boys were doing the heavy lifting and I could just supervise them from the sideline and give them some tips over the walkie-talkie. This was a good division of labor because it cleared up my mind to keep organizing all the stuff in the background. This is a cross-section of the foundation and its main purpose is to stop water from freezing underneath it and to add some stability. The trenches that we are digging are going to receive the concrete footings, but the soft sand doesn't allow for the concrete to be poured directly on top of it. First we need a subbase, and that's really just for cleanliness. So then we have a sturdy base at the right height to add our forms on. And the forms will receive some rebar, then they get filled up with concrete, then the forms are removed, and after that everything is backfilled, so we only have the concrete sticking out. And the area underneath the slab will be finely leveled so we can put our insulation on top. And insulation comes from the company Yakko, and we're going to use the Yakko Duo Atlas system. 12 centimeters underneath the slab and 20 centimeters at the perimeter, and that will have some great efficiencies with our radiant heating system. So the heating tubes get poured directly into the concrete, and that way the whole concrete slab will be heated. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of details just in the foundation alone. At the beginning we dropped off all the ground in areas where we knew we had to fill it up later anyway, because it was lower than the existing level. And the reference is always the street, and of course also where we're going to have the building later on. It's better to have the building higher up, because then we have less risk of rain getting into the workshop. So we also dropped a lot of ground on the building pad itself, and then we pulled it smooth. When we started digging, things got messy really quickly and I couldn't figure out why. It wasn't that we did anything wrong, we were just struggling to get things in order. In hindsight, I know why we were struggling in this area of the property, because the soft sand here was so soft that it was almost flowing like water. We really struggled to get some form into this, but after a while we figured it out. After a few hours we got into the routine where the small excavator would dig away at the big pile of sand at the right side of the picture, and the loader would spread it out over the entire building pad. And that way we raise it by about 15 centimeters, and the shop floor will end up about 40 centimeters above the street level. To smooth out the dirt, the trick is to go backwards with the loader while dragging the shovel over the ground. And there's also a feature called the floating function that helps with that, but we haven't quite figured out what it does exactly. There's a little button that you can press with waves on it, and apparently that helps you smooth it out. If you know, let me know in the comments. While they were working the heavy equipment, I was working the plate compactor, and that's a really easy machine to use. You just have to walk behind it. It's like a walk in the park, just much louder, but it's very difficult to film while holding onto it. I'm not mad at all. He is a beginner, and even if he wasn't, I wouldn't be mad, but he's really off the line. He's supposed to go from this to the other yellow one, and he's really off the mark. He's really going in wavy lines, but that's okay. We can fix that. It is January and we're in north of Germany, so the light fades quickly. Luckily the lights on the excavators work perfectly, and the crew went home. A new fresh member came in who wasn't tired, and I hopped into the excavator to keep digging, because we can use these machines for 8 hours a day and I really wanted to utilize them to get this done within 1 week. The next morning I drove the loader to the gas station, which is just down the road, which is very convenient. And while I was there I also filled up a diesel canister for the excavator. In total I spent about 200 euros on diesel for the whole groundwork. We carefully straightened out the first trench, and look how much better they managed to do the second one. It's just 1 day of learning in between the two, and learning these machines is really not difficult, you just need some practice. While the crew continued digging, I was compacting the bottom of the trench, and it doesn't really help a lot with the sand because you can't compact the sand too much. If it's super fluffy, yeah, you get it down maybe 2 or 3 centimeters, but overall, sand is pretty much like a fluid, you cannot compact it very well. It was important to dig to the right depth, so I bought a receiver that beeps when it's in line with my laser level. That is a very tedious process because one person has to be in the trench all the time, measuring meter by meter and adding or subtracting a little bit of soil. But some professionals are digging outside of my house right now and they're doing exactly the same thing, even though they have a 20-ton excavator. This tiny one didn't have any fancy technology, but I know that you can get some measurement systems built in that ensure the shovel doesn't go beyond a certain depth. And the depth is critical because at the bottom of this we will set up our forms and fill them up with concrete. And if we are deeper than we're supposed to be, we use up more concrete, which will cost much more money. Anyway, we leveled everything as well as we could, and after 4 days of digging and moving around soil, we were pretty much done for the most part. Alright, we're finally done. I just packed up the excavators. I'm super tired now, it was a long week. But everything is dug out and next we need some more measurements to see where exactly we need to pour the foundation. But that's not my job anymore, that's somebody else's. I'm done and I'm going to bed now. But first I need to drive home. We got this done in just 4 days and they were very eventful and stressful at times. First of all, we had new crew. They never used an excavator and a loader before, but now they do, and that's the great thing. Everybody had fun doing it. It was fun to teach them how to do it, and everybody learned new skills, so that's already a win. And we also did it right. We dug the right geometry at the right location. It was difficult at times to know where exactly we were and how deep we were, but we got it done at the end, and I'm quite happy with the result so far. Of course, doing all of this ourselves also saved a ton of money. I spent about 3.5 grand for the whole groundwork, including labor. The trenches that we dug are not very precise, so I returned 1 week later to meet up with the surveying people, and they can determine exactly where the corners of the building are going to be. And they use this fancy equipment to reference of other known objects and buildings in the area with fixed measurement points. They went around the whole foundation and roughly marked its edges, and then they came back and added some wooden stakes. And to these wooden stakes they could very precisely tie some strings to show the actual edges of the foundation. And these strings are also set in the perfect height to give us a reference for the height of the building. And that revealed that the trenches that we dug were a little bit uneven, so I returned for 1 more day on a Sunday with another rental excavator to finish that job. While I was at it, I also widened the trenches a little bit to make it easier for the concrete people to set up the forms, because they told me that it's quite difficult to set up the forms in a narrow space. After I was done with the last part of digging, I had to do some more compacting, so I decided to buy my very own plate compactor. I think this machine will pay for itself by the time the whole building is finished. Yeah. This machine weighs 160 kilograms and getting it off the trailer is very easy, but pulling it back up would be very hard. So I decided to buy this winch, and that was very cheap, just 20 euros, but it's really a time saver and it's so easy with this thing to pull it up. It's really effortless, and this is a wheelchair ramp. I thought this would be more usable than a car ramp because it's in one piece. And now I can load and unload heavy equipment without help from others, and it's also safer, I think, to have the winch pull everything instead of having people push it where it could roll down again. But I also want to store some equipment on site, so I bought this shipping container. This came straight from China, it's brand new, and I think it looks super nice, much better than any of these used containers that you can get. And that would be very nice to store some brooms and shovels and so on, stuff that I don't want to have to carry around all the time. Another week later, the concrete people showed up with a concrete truck and a big pump, and they started pouring the subbase. This is a very thin layer and it's not structural at all. In Germany we call this the cleanliness layer, and this is really just there to provide a solid support on which we can put the forms. Because with the soft sand it would be very difficult to accurately place the forms and to keep them exactly where they need to be. They started at 8 in the morning and were finished by 10. And they made sure that the surface is perfectly level and at the correct height. And this is a well-invested effort because it makes working on the forms that much easier, because the sand shifts around and the concrete does not, so now you can very accurately place the forms. The steel arrived and the steel people started to install all of this, and I couldn't even film it. They were so quick, I wasn't around, but I did a fantastic job and everything is set up really nicely. And next they delivered all of the forms. I outsourced all of the concrete work because this is really not one of my strengths. You need a lot of specialized equipment for that, and I don't have it, I can't even transport it, and these people are perfectly set up to do the job, and they were very quick and efficient at doing that. And of course, with concrete, everything is time sensitive. Once the concrete arrives, you need to pour it, otherwise it hards and it's a giant waste. So they installed a ton of bracing and made sure that there will be no hiccups once the concrete arrives. And they were so confident that they did all of the shoring you see here just in the morning before the concrete arrived. They started at 7 and the concrete came at 10 o'clock. You're probably wondering right now why they only installed forms on one side of the foundation and not everywhere, and that's simply because they didn't have more forms available at the moment. So they decided to pour everything they could now, then take off the forms and reuse them for the other side. And suddenly the concrete was there. We had 2 trucks and 1 concrete pump, and I was so excited for this moment because so far we only did preparations and now we're finally building something. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. I read all of them and I try to answer everybody as well. The pour was completed after about 20 minutes, and afterwards we smoothed out the top surface, because in the next video we're going to install the insulation on top of that, and it will be much easier to lay it down flat when it's smooth. Then I sunk in some pieces of wood that we can use later on as tunnels to move some cables through them. So that's it for this video. We did all the groundwork and the foundation, and next up we'll build the rest of the workshop. So please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the future videos, and thanks for watching everybody. My name is Max Maker and I make all kinds of stuff.